Dua Saab, President of the Telecom Towers Association, Dr. Paroda, Padma Bhushan, agricultural giant. India is an agriculture economy, as they say, without having complete alignment of goals with the agricultural ministry. India's sustainability drive shall reach nowhere. And Dr. Paroda will throw some light. Sir, over to you and take us through how India can, as an agricultural economy, also drive sustainability for the world to emulate. Over to you, Dr. Raj Paroda.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, Mr. Goenka. I'm very pleased to join this panel discussion of eminent panelists and my good friends Ram and Sancheti ji and others. The subject is very important, as has already been highlighted. And we have been talking since last year when we held G20 conference, One Earth, One Family, One Future. And when we are now addressing this issue of sustainability during COP29, which is going to start tomorrow, one message is very clear that we must now act rather than talk. So there is urgency for action. We know we have inflicted a lot of injury on our natural resources, and no doubt at one time we didn't have food. We have come a long way, and now having even export to the level of about 55 billion, and thinking of contributing to national GDP to around 17 to 18%, which we want to increase to 20%. So maybe in the expected economy of 5 trillion, 1 trillion will come from agriculture. Having said this, I would also like to say that green, white, blue revolutions were need of the time. But the economic survey of India for the last 4 or 5 years had been telling that perhaps these technologies which we had been over-exploitative of our natural resources. When we look at the scenario of climate change, agriculture contributes around 30% in total for greenhouse gas emissions, 11% from the management of livestock, mainly bovines, and cultivation of crops like rice, and use of, or rather misuse of fertilizers, which we have been also, in fact, using to a greater extent now than when we were not at all using any fertilizer when the independence of India took place. Having come to all this scenario, now we realize that what can be done. And in that respect, I must admire our Prime Minister for having fixed the national targets which are higher than expected targets under Paris Agreement, which is 20-20-20, whereas we have fixed the target for reducing in emission by almost 35%, and for the clear energy by about 40%. And it seems both of these we are on the right path and trying to achieve them in time, especially with regard to 2030. But the third target, which is about carbon sequestration and about which few other colleagues also had talked, is a major concern. To achieve 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent would not be an easy task. And it would require, obviously, either to increase area under forest, which under national policy, we had been keeping 30% target for last 2 decades. We have not been able to increase beyond 25%. And then the other alternatives are from agriculture. In that respect, are either to go for conservation agriculture or to go for agroforestry. Options for which are obviously there, and we now at a stage where we need to scale innovations which help us in conserving our natural resources, improve soil health. Soil health is a concern. Also save water. There are technologies like micro irrigation. For soil health, we have to go in for in situ conservation rather than burning uh, the rice straw, which is a major concern. We have created another environmental problem. And then we have to manage our uh, cultivation of rice by going in for direct seeded rice or for wetting and then providing irrigation system. So there are technologies which can be used and they can be very effective. But then what is required is that we have to now think in the context of sustainable farming systems, not only the cropping system, bring in legume. It is not rice wheat or maize rice would solve our problem. Cereal to cereal is no solution. We have to also think that our efficiency in terms of use of fertilizers, we are almost using about 30 million tons of fertilizer today, and large quantity of phosphatic and the potassic fertilizers are imported. And we need to bring in efficiency. Our efficiency is hardly 30%. That is a challenge. And then there are policies which are also helping for distortion with regard to use of these fertilizers. So we will have to relook at our policies as well uh, and see that rather than giving subsidy, we move towards incentivization for the sustainable agricultural practices. Whether it is livestock, better housing for livestock is also important, better nutrition, and we uh, we find that we have to go in for now. COVID has taught us very well that you have to diversify your food basket again and go in for local food systems. And UN Food Systems Conference only 2 years back highlighted that you have to now give high emphasis on regenerative agriculture. And that's where the talk is about organic farming or natural farming. But then we have to have a balance. We cannot just go only in one direction because we have the largest population in the world which to be fed. We are adding almost one Australia every year. And we need to meet our sustainable development goals for no poverty and zero hunger. There are concerns of nutritional security. And when I was telling about agriculture as a cause for concern with regard to uh, climate change, uh, land degradation is another factor which is to be taken care of. And land degradation can be checked, as Dr. Ram Mashelkar mentioned, of going in for conservation agriculture or going in for silvipastoral systems or growing for grasses where they are required. And especially India still has about 45 to 46% dryland area. And globally now, in dryland regions, conservation agriculture has really moved very fast, whereas almost 200 million hectare area, Brazil, Argentina, USA, Canada, Australia, they all have gone for no-till agriculture. So the concept in the mind of the farmers and also of the technological or reorientation is needed to go in for that technology, because we have to make our dry lands, which we call gray areas, green. And to make this green is our challenge. And that's where the technologies like conservation agriculture, zero-till farming is important. We have to keep our soil covered for carbon sequestration. We have to go in for agroforestry because more area under forest is not possible. And also cultivable area is also fixed for almost last 4 decades at 140 million hectares. So agroforestry is another option and there are good opportunities for it. So I would like to rather not make it long, but make few suggestions that time is ripe, that we relook at our strategies for agricultural systems on the eco-region basis, give high emphasis on local food systems, also think in the context of improving efficiency, go in for rather stopping flood irrigation. Why can't we ban flood irrigation and go in for micro irrigation? We can increase our land under irrigation quite substantially, about 30 to 40%, uh, just by using the available technologies. We have to link the farmer to the market, which is another option. Increase the income of the farmer by providing technologies by which they can save on seed, water, energy, and also pesticides, and going for integrated pest management, integrated nutrient management. Options are there. But then to say that we will not use fertilizers and go in for organic, from where do we get the farmyard manure which will be required for organic farming? We don't have those options, so we have to look at rationally rather than, and public-private partnership has been emphasized. And without that, possibly we will not be able to achieve what we want and to scale these innovations which are available. And rather than giving money only to the farmers, say every quarter, it is better to provide farmers incentive that if they adopt these sustainable agricultural practices, then the subsidies can be provided as incentive. That's what we feel is important, and we need more coordination and convergence, of which is a major issue because there are many schemes, many departments, many ministries, but we see that they are all working in silos. So unless they work in a coordinated manner, possibly we will not be. So lastly, uh, the challenge is that whether we will be able to achieve sustainable development goals or meet Paris Agreement by 2030. I think even UN is thinking of revising these and probably extending this time period for another 5 to 10 years. But we have to be very specific in terms of using new science, harnessing new science, options of which are there, whether it is uh, you know, I would say genetic engineering, genome editing, or we call GM crops, adoption of those, scaling of conservation agriculture, and using our youth more effectively to be motivated and retained in agriculture, uh, to provide not only the inputs but also the knowledge, because farmers need knowledge and better knowledge for the different kind of agriculture. It is secondary or specialty agriculture, like protected cultivation. So I won't take long. I can go on, but I do see that time is ripe. We, rather than only talking, probably sit and discuss and uh, try to take advantage of innovations that are available and scale them in a partnership mode uh, by putting our heads together. Thank you very much.
Dr. Paroda, thank you so much for the wonderful, kind of, very, very compact speech, because the repository and the encyclopedia of knowledge around the subject that you bring on will need years to probably extrapolate and try and implement at a global level. India can definitely be a leader if your experience can be taken in the right spirit, and actions and implementations can take place. RISE, for example, RISE, an issue around the water conservation and rice and the use of nano fertilizers. Just throw some light, then we let you go. Dr. Paroda, nano fertilizers, utilization of nano fertilizers.
Yeah, nano fertilizer also is another technology, but would require also the use of drones and also expertise more efficiently in terms of perfection with regard to where for which crop or which plants or trees they are to be used. And not that you just say that, well, it is available for everyone and it has to be used. Even farmers, we are buying now a fertilizer, and one bottle of nano fertilizer is also provided, and farmers don't know what to do of that bottle. And they are paying 400 rupees also for one bottle, as well as for one bag of fertilizer. So it is to, but for that you require, for such technologies like AI, you would require expertise of different kind. You would require skilled youth to to provide those services. And for that we are probably have to ourselves. I think that I must say that the time is right now that we now rethink on use of meat. And luckily, India doesn't use meat to that much extent in our food, being vegetative, uh, population. But globally now, people are thinking that you are using more resources for producing the protein through the animal route. And also we have to think in terms of reducing our losses, which are post-harvest losses. And post-harvest losses also create greenhouse gas emission to the extent of 6% globally. And we cannot now afford to reduce to lose whatever we produce. So not only the production but post-production. And for post-production, we need different policies which are more supportive for the entrepreneurs to come forward and then do business and be successful. For which they cannot uh, be competitive if same policies of same GST is applied to such entrepreneurs as well.
Sir, final question. Any solutions to this perennial annual festival called stubble burning?
Pardon?
Any solutions to this perennial annual festival called stubble burning?
Yeah. Well, in fact, we have been able to reduce it to a greater extent by going in for zero-till cultivation, uh, by using the stubbles, using the machinery which is happy seeder. But the point is that this happy seeder should be available to the farmers at a very small window, which is about 20 to 20 or 30 days. And if it is not available, then it is little costly. So every farmer will not like to buy it. So maybe we need to have the what you call is the service centers, cooperative, or through farmer producer organizations, or by even the government support system, so that these machineries are available on higher basis at a shorter interval, and farmers will be very happy to use it. Technology is there, but it need to be scaled, and it would require investment, and it would require policy support. It seems we are not really worried with so much of pollution, while right here in our capital, uh, whereas these solutions are there and can be addressed, provided we all take it seriously, not blame each other.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.